George Bass, the son of a farmer from Lincolnshire, was to do something at the age of 27 that was to herald the coming of a new world to Tasmania, or Van Diemen's Land as it was known by Europeans then. George Bass figured out in 1798 that there was this strait of water passing between the colony of New South Wales and Van Diemen's Land. Now this made those back in charge in England nervous, as it meant that this island could be seen as up for grabs by the French in particular, who'd been spending a fair bit of time around these parts and were also spending a fair bit of time at war with England during these years. Not long after George Bass made this discovery, Port Phillip was discovered and plans were quickly made to put a settlement there, which I'll tell you about later. Now, it was more than just roaming around claiming land for Philip King, the Governor of New South Wales at the time. The New South Wales colony was in a state of bedlam, no doubt the result of the main currency there being rum. King had a problem with repeat convict offenders who continued to cause havoc in the settlement every chance they got. He also had a problem with the corrupt military, known as the Rum Corps, who were pretty much running the show when it came to the distribution of this rum currency. Governor King saw a penal settlement down south as the perfect place to send both troublemaking convicts and corrupt military personnel. Enter David Fenn Kemp, a man who was later to be referred to, probably by himself, as the father of Tasmania, was actually known in Sydney at the time as a renowned bully. Kemp, or Captain Kemp, was the government paymaster at the time in New South Wales, as well as an enthusiastic trader of rum or anything else he could get his hands on. Kemp was not popular, especially with Governor King, who wanted to clamp down on some of his racketeering. Kemp was exactly the kind of troublemaker that King wanted to get rid of, and he would do so soon enough. In 1802, French explorer Nicholas Bourdon and his crew on board the Naturalist limped into Port Jackson, sick with scurvy and in need of supplies. Now, Governor King showed them kindness, but Kemp, he saw it as an opportunity to stir up trouble between the French and the English while stitching up King at the same time. Once Bourdon and his ship had left port, Kemp began to spread a rumour that he'd overheard some French officers discussing their plans to claim Van Diemen's Land. Now this sent King into a spin. Without waiting for a yay or nay from British administrators, he sent 3 Marines hastily off in pursuit of Bourdon to make sure that he clearly understood old Blighty's intentions. What happened next was like a Monty Python sketch. The Marines finally caught up with Bourdon, wandering around some islands in the Bass Strait. The Marines hastily tied a Union Jack to a tree, gave 3 hurrahs and fired off a volley from their muskets. Bourdon noted that the flag looked like an old dishcloth and was hanging upside down, and they'd had to borrow dry gunpowder from Bourdon in order to make their salute. Hardly statesmanlike. A few months after the first somewhat embarrassing land claim in the Bass Strait, King would send his first party of settlers to settle Van Diemen's Land on the Derwent River in a place called Risdon Cove. The new settlement was under the command of an inexperienced 23-year-old Lieutenant John Bowen, fresh off the boat, so to speak. Risdon Cove was selected based on a recommendation by Bass and Flinders from an earlier exploration, and was done so mainly due to it backing onto native grasslands that meant good hunting grounds. Bowen commented that they reminded him of English parklands, but that didn't happen all by themselves. The Aboriginal population had been cultivating these lands for a long time with what we now call fire stick farming. These parklands were in fact important hunting grounds for the locals.